If you're a middle-aged guy who's finally waking up to your people-pleasing patterns, you've probably started looking for ways to change. Maybe you've been reading books about boundaries. Maybe you're trying to be more assertive. Maybe you're working on saying no more often. Those are all good steps, but if you're missing the one thing that makes all of this work, you're going to keep feeling stuck. And the missing piece is self-respect. And I don't mean the surface level kind where you tell yourself you're worthy. I mean the deep, unshakable knowing that your needs, your opinions, your boundaries, they matter just as much as everyone else's. Nobody is above you. And here's why that matters so much. You can learn all the techniques in the world for setting better boundaries, but if you don't fundamentally respect yourself, you'll apologize for every boundary you try to set. You can practice being more assertive, but if you don't truly believe you deserve to take up space, you'll always feel like you're performing instead of living. But the most important part of all is that once you get used to living with self-respect, you'll have a sense of inner peace that's hard to put into words, where no matter what happens, you'll know you showed up as your real self. You didn't betray yourself or lie to anyone else. And at the end of the day, you can actually live with yourself. And that's huge, especially if you've spent years dealing with nice guy shame. Self-respect was the foundation that changed everything for me after I went through my divorce around age 50. Not just in dating, but in every area of my life. Because when you truly respect yourself, you stop operating from a place of scarcity and desperation. You stop trying to earn love and approval by making yourself smaller. And let me tell you what self-respect actually looks like, because there's a lot of confusion about this. Self-respect means you don't need permission to have preferences. When someone asks what you want for dinner, for example, you actually give a real answer instead of, well, whatever you want. And when you disagree with someone, you say so respectfully instead of nodding along to keep the peace. Self-respect means you don't apologize for existing. You don't over-explain every decision you make. You don't feel guilty for having needs or taking care of yourself. You don't ask permission, and you don't tolerate disrespect. If you're getting value from this so far, please support the channel by liking the video. Thank you. Most importantly, self-respect means you're willing to disappoint people rather than disappoint yourself. You'd rather be honest and deal with whatever happens than to manipulate situations by being who you think others want you to be. And I know that if you're not used to thinking this way, it probably sounds selfish. But remember, we're not talking about putting ourselves above other people. We're talking about finally not putting others above ourselves. Now, there's a lot of advice out there about becoming a better man. Some of it's useful and some of it isn't, but most of it's external. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's missing a piece. It's things like work out more, dress better, act more confident, lead your family, stand up straighter. I'm on board with much of that. And taking care of yourself matters, and how you present yourself makes a difference. But here's what I learned. In order to be a better man, you must build a solid foundation, and most of that is internal work. This is the piece that many men miss. You can follow every bit of advice about making external changes perfectly and still feel empty inside. You can have the perfect physique and the perfect wardrobe, but if you're still seeking everyone's approval, if you're still afraid to be yourself, if you're still putting everyone else's comfort above your own well-being, nothing fundamentally changes. The real transformation happens when you develop enough self-respect to show up authentically, knowing that some people won't like what they see, and being okay with that. This is especially crucial if you're married or in a long-term relationship. A lot of men get into patterns where they've slowly given away their voice. They ask permission for things a grown man shouldn't need permission for. They accept repeated criticism and disrespect because they're afraid of conflict. They make themselves small in an effort to try to keep their partner happy. And if you're married or in a long-term relationship and this is hitting home, here's something I wish I'd understood a lot earlier. And it sounds obvious. It's so easy to lose yourself in unhealthy patterns and then wake up one day and ask how the hell you got there. But a relationship is supposed to be a partnership, not a parental dynamic where you're the child asking permission. But a lot of guys, especially people pleasers, slowly train their wives to expect that dynamic without even realizing it. They do it by being defensive and over-explaining, by saying yes to things they don't actually want to do, by avoiding conflict, even when it means swallowing their own truth. And here's the problem. Over time, that behavior creates a hierarchy. You're no longer seen as a man with agency, you're seen as a childlike figure who needs to be managed. And that breeds criticism, disrespect, and eventually emotional distance. And if you're in that spot right now, and it's really a tough spot to be in, I'm well aware of that, I'm not telling you to blow up your marriage. In my opinion, men need to make up their own minds about what's right for them. Only you can decide what's right for you. But I am telling you this, stop asking for permission to live your life. So, for example, if you want to go golfing on Saturday, you say, I'm going golfing Saturday morning, instead of, would it be okay if maybe I could go play golf this weekend if you don't mind? Start speaking directly without over-explaining. So, for example, if you decide to grab drinks with a friend after work, you say, I'm meeting Jake for a drink after work. I'll be home later this evening. Period. End of sentence. Instead of giving a 10-minute explanation about why you deserve to see your buddy. And look, in a healthy relationship, especially if you're raising kids or managing busy lives, communication and coordination still matter. So you're not just announcing everything you plan to do, you're collaborating like an adult. But collaboration is very different from permission seeking. So you still can say, I'm going golfing Saturday, and work out the logistics without giving up your voice. Start expressing preferences, even small ones. So for example, back to the dinner thing. When she does ask where you want to go for dinner, you say, I'm in the mood for Mexican food, instead of defaulting to, well, whatever you want is fine with me. And address snide remarks directly, even if they're said with a smile. So for example, if she makes a comment like, must be nice to have all that free time, you say, you know, that sounded like a dig. I don't appreciate the way you just said that to me. If something's bothering you, then say it to me directly. You do that instead of pretending you didn't hear it and tolerating passive-aggressive behavior, because we do teach people how to treat us. And the more we allow that, the more it continues and escalates. You might be surprised how much changes when you stop defending yourself and start asserting yourself calmly, clearly, and consistently. How do you know if you're making progress? Well, the one way you'll know you're truly valuing yourself is if you don't feel irritated or angry when you're asserting yourself. When you feel insecure, asserting your needs, you'll be less sure of yourself and feel more like you need to be ready to defend yourself. But once you realize you're doing nothing wrong, there's nothing to defend, you'll understand there's nothing to get upset about. It's the difference between confident self-respect and defensive anger. And if you're not in a relationship, then you've got a head start on this. It's really important to make that internal shift before you date anyone. The moment you start dating someone, you're already setting the tone for how you'll be treated. And if you don't show up with self-respect from the beginning, you'll either end up in a one-down position, or you might attract someone who wants to control you. If you're going through or coming out of a divorce, self-respect is a large component of what prevents you from jumping into the same patterns with someone new. It's what helps you recognize red flags you might have ignored before. It's what allows you to enjoy your own company instead of desperately seeking someone to complete you. You know you'll be okay on your own. In dating, self-respect changes everything. You stop trying to win people over by being perfect. You stop agreeing with opinions you don't share just to avoid conflict. You stop pretending to like things you find boring. Instead, you show up as yourself and let people decide if they want what you're actually offering. And you're fine with it either way. More importantly, you start deciding if you want what they're offering. And the surprising thing, this doesn't make relationships harder, it makes them better. Because the people who stick around are attracted to the real you, not some performance you're putting on. But let's be honest about what developing self-respect after years of people-pleasing actually involves. It's not easy, it's not comfortable, you'll doubt yourself constantly at first, you'll worry that having boundaries makes you selfish. You'll feel guilty for prioritizing your own needs. And of course, some people in your life won't like the change. Some relationships don't survive the change. You'll also realize how much of your life has been built around avoiding disappointment, both disappointing others and being disappointed yourself. Self-respect means accepting that disappointment is a part of life, and it's better to face it honestly than to avoid it by being someone you're not. And here's what changed for me. I started seeing myself as an equal, and I no longer allowed myself to put anyone else on a pedestal. I started making decisions based on what I actually wanted, not what would make me look good or keep everyone else happy. I became comfortable with conflict because I was no longer afraid of people being upset with me. Most importantly, I started genuinely liking myself. Not because I was perfect, but because I was real. And when you respect yourself, other people pick up on that. It's attractive in a way that no amount of external improvement can replicate. The work starts with getting honest about where you've been giving your power away. Where are you seeking approval instead of trusting your own judgment? Where are you making yourself small to make others comfortable? Where are you saying yes when you mean no? Self-respect isn't something you achieve once and then you're done. It's a daily practice of choosing yourself without being selfish, of standing up for what matters to you without tearing others down, of being honest about who you are, even when it's inconvenient. And if you're tired of feeling like you're performing instead of living, if you're ready to stop seeking everyone else's approval and start trusting your own judgment, the work begins with one simple question. What would change in your life if you truly respected yourself? The answer to that question is where your real transformation starts, because everything else, the confidence, the better relationships, the inner peace, all of that flows from this one foundation. Thanks for watching, and if this resonated, hit that subscribe button, especially if you're a man over 40 trying to live more authentically. I'll see you in the next one.